Chilo one Tonadol, Tonyel, DJ Dingarang, Jagda Lord, the end of a pin. I didn't Majak, you dang a Makwaga, or Tony Barrett, ye mother wounded where I would meet. Pandania, I thought it all good on Gaton, I didn't Majak. Anyar ke berkuan ba, ijit sekolah ikapi, najong cedok, kami pajak, kali pingi kielo. Padena majak cedeng makwaga oton berat, iya mana uni gaya budimit. Pandeni ya, aye ton tual potong katone, padena majak. Anyar ke berkuan ba, ijit sekolah ikapi. Jong Chigyo, Mammy Pajak, I ping again. What dinner Majak, then Makwaga, or Ton Parat, ye mother wounded where I would meet. Pandania, I thought it all put on the corner, Madina Majak, and Yark going by, in James School, I Jong Chigyo, Mammy Pajak, I ping again. In the other than Paniri, you know. I your mother, I'm not in Majak, Madit.
Welcome to Madit Majak Show. Welcome to South Sudan Current Affair. For those of you turning in Clubhouse and YouTube and Facebook, welcome. This is the talk show for Madit, and also for this today, my topic regarding about, I'm discussing about today, Oyet Nathaniel, the acting chairman of SPLM in the bush. He came today out in public in one of the SPLM member. He hosts him for the moon. He hosts him today in YouTube. So I have a video. I will play that video. Before I make that video play, also Plemoon will join me in his studio too. We will have a discussion. So later on, I don't know what time is it. So I will send him a link later on. If he's ready, he will join me, and then we will having a healthy discussion. Now, before I play the video, and those of you, let me make myself very clear to those of opposition supporters, in particular some of the SPLIO and the NAS in social media. So some of you think that there is propaganda going on, and you're blaming Madit is doing those propaganda, those news that your chairman, Nathaniel, has resigned from his position, and you guys assume that that's Madit making those allegations. That is not Madit. Let me make that clear. That's not Madit. If South Sudan Eagle Media posted some of the breaking news or some of the article or somebody who posted one of the event, and then we share in our page, doesn't mean that Madit wrote that on things. So I just want to make it very clear, because there are some of the article that has been shared for the last few days regarding about Nathaniel resigned from his position as the acting chairman of SPLIO in the bush. So many of you writing, talking, Clubhouse, accusing Madit. Those I want to make it very clear. And second, why Madit is very critical on SPLIO supporters. Because Yajama, you guys are using social media to spread propaganda, misinformation, fueling a conflict in South Sudan. And that's why I always come here and say that no, this is not true. This is not what happened. And also I condemn some of you who preaching the tribalism, dividing people, particularly those of you who stay in diaspora. Some of you, I listen to you guys in this Clubhouse. And some of you are staying in America. Some of you are staying in Canada. Some of you are staying in London, British, or some of Germany, some of you Australia, you know? And the way you guys are acting is really mind blowing to me, because some of you are supporting NAS, some of you supporting White Army and IO. You guys preaching this tribal hatred. And what is happening right now in the country, it is really since the beginning of the year. We have seen the violent increase. We have seen the violence increasing in sorry, my smartphone is playing me a trick here. Probably I'll take you out. I don't know why you doing that. So part of the country, Jonglei and Upper Nile, there is a war going. Even in part of it, Western Equatoria, we have seen yesterday there is a attack in Nairus, and 2 weeks ago there was an attack in Imili. I mean in Nadapal. Okay, but yesterday there was attack again in Nairus. So Nairus and Nadapal, they are not that far away, because I stayed that area before I go to Kakuma. So I know that one very well. Nairus, that was, I stayed there for a few months before we moved to Kakuma in 1992. So I know that very well, even in the area that I am familiar with those areas. So we had seen a violence in that area. There are some of the displacement has happened in Nepal, in Nairus yesterday, and I have some pictures to show you guys. And that's why I said that you guys, we cannot support a war. This is not a right thing to do. So we have to preach for the peace, even though the peace is not attractive enough. We have to talk about it. But what I'm seeing, some of you are preaching with violence. You guys say that, okay, we are going out for war. Hang on for a second. I'm trying to bring the one of the videos here. So you guys are supporting a violence in the country to go ahead, which is, I don't support that. That's why I come out in public in social media to condemn some of you who are preaching for a war to continue. Some of you now are preaching about SPLIO can go to Juba. Isaac, can you hear me, right? My voice good, Isaac?
My name is Edmund.
Okay, there's a video that I'm trying to play about what the incident happened today in Nimili. Very clear. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, the voice was down. So anyway, this is the one who's happening. Palamun, I mean, yeah, whenever Palamun coming in, let me know. I will send him a link to join me in this studio. Yeah. So this is why. Now the today incident yesterday for Nairus. Listen to what Idmun Yakani was saying. He was talk about what happened in Nairus yesterday. Let me play his audio.
Is Edmund Yakani, Executive Director of SEPO. I would like to take this opportunity to amplify my voice loudly to the attention of the field ground military commanders of SSPDF, SPLAIO, and likely also the attention of the commanders of Operation Rescue South Sudan in Nairus town. We have seen for the last 2 days, since yesterday and today, an active military confrontation between the forces of SSPDF and SPLAIO in Nairus town. And we have seen you have been exchanging your military confrontation in the middle of the civilian population. We are aware that some civilians are already injured and some have lost their life with your 2 days active confrontation in Narus. And also you have contributed to displace the civilian population in Narus town. As we speak now, safety, protection of civilian population in Narus town is at risk. And those who are displaced, they may face humanitarian crisis, and specifically in this dry season, they have left their foods indoors. And this is a moment where the humanitarian agencies are no longer proactive like previously. Therefore, we are calling upon the ground commanders of SSPDF, of SPLIO, that please stand up to your responsibility where you don't compromise with safety and security of civilian population. We need you to ensure that whatever you are in your military active confrontation, civilian population should not be used as a seal or as a weapon of war or as escaping goal for you to express your political discontented position. We have said multiple times that this approach of military solution to political crisis is not beneficial and is harmful on the innocent civilian population, as we all have seen what's happening in Narus town now. Therefore, we want to tell you that our pen is not down. We are documenting all your actions. One day, one time, in a competent court of law, you will find yourself answering questions that are associated with atrocities created by your military approach for political crisis. The best is that being SSPDF or SPLIO or Operation Rescue South Sudan forces, you better resolve your political discontented position through dialogue rather than putting safety and protection of civilians at risk. We are aware that innocent civilians are paying with their price and they have been displaced or they have been forced to refuge, while those who design this strategy, their families, their relatives, are far from the negative implications that is affecting our citizens. As an activist, we're calling upon SPLIU, we're calling upon SSPDF, we're calling upon anybody that is armed that you better resolve your political discontented crisis through dialogue rather than military solution. We also demand for this escalation of this recent military confrontation that picked up in Narus town. Thank you very much.
So now you heard from Idamun. So he confirmed about the yesterday attack. Civilian have been displayed. I received some of pictures and that audio I edited, and there is pictures of them in that audio that I edited. So there are some civilian that is displaced in as I will speak because of that incident. Okay. So the violence is about Western Equatoria, Eastern Equatoria, even in Central Equatoria that are attacked there, and then in Jonglei, Upper Nile. So insecurity is really going on in the country. But now I would play the video yet today when Pelemun brought in Oyet, Nathaniel, which is he's now acting chairman of SPLIO in the book, because SPLIO has been divided into, like, I don't know, 4 or 3. So there's SPLIO in the bush, SPLA in exile, SPLIO in the government, and SPLIO doing nothing. I mean, SPLA in under a house arrest, which is led by Dr. Yakmasha. Now, and Kid Guang too, and Kid Guang too, yeah, like 5 or 6. So all of this, Yajama, okay, that's SPLIO now. All those 6 are fraction of SPLIO. One SPLIO lead by Oyet, Nathaniel, is the one now causing a war. He declared himself. So in his video today, when he gave his speech, because he came out, Polomun brought him, Polomun called him and the rest of SPLIO, and the NAS called him that, oh, Madit is in social media doing propaganda about you being resigned from SPLIO, and Dr. Yakmasha release you from the from your position. So this is the video that I will play, and then we will start a discussion with Pramun. Pramun join me in the studio. So Pramun, get yourself a cup of coffee. We will be having a healthy discussion live in South Sudan Eagle Media page. So let me play the video that promote today interview. I mean, brought in. It's not an interview. It's just they call it as a nation address, which is SPLIO nation address, that chairman. So let us play the video and then we will start from that. And those of you in Clubhouse, you guys can either you want to join live, you can go to YouTube and our Facebook, Eagle Media page. You can see that.
Is the acting chairman and the commander in chief of SPLM, SPLIO. His steadfast leadership has not only inspired the organization in the midst of the chairman's trial, a political motivated trial in Juba, but has inspired the entire country. I'm very pleased to call him my leader and also a colleague and a friend, and I'm very happy to introduce to you Right Honorable Nathaniel Oyet, the acting chairman and the commanding chief of SPLM, SPLIO. Comrade Acting Chairman, please take the stage. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the moderator. Thank you, Comrade Isaac, Professor Isaac Gang, all the leaders of the party present, the mission representatives, the coordinators, the chapter leaders. We may have honorable members of parliament in our midst, members of NLC, and if there are other members also of political bureau, the members of the public who may come be following us, the members of diplomatic corps, the members of the press in South Sudan and outside South Sudan, our chiefs and elders of our communities, all South Sudanese from all walks of life, the common citizen, the women and children who are always affected by the scourge of war and suffering, all our gallant forces, the generals, the field commanders, officers and NCOs, and men. I take this opportunity to greet you today, 15th of January, 2026, and wish you a happy New Year, prosperous New Year, a year of peace, a year of victory for the SPLM, SPLIO, a year that South Sudanese shall enjoy their freedom, their citizens' right, peace dividends in our country. It is now 10 months since South Sudan plunged into another crisis of abrogation of an agreement, the RRCs 2018. President Salva Kiir, who has been peddling the politics of anti-peace, has again destroyed the peace process in South Sudan. You all know that in March 2025, President Salva Kiir arrested and detained our leader, Dr. Majak, the first Vice President of the Republic, the Chairman and the Commander-in-Chief of the SPLM, SPLIO. He has also arraigned them in an illegal and political court where they are being tried for politically motivated charges. The arrest and detention and trials of our chairman and commander-in-chief and other detainees come after systematic violations of the RRCs, in which the positions that were allocated to the SPLM, SPLA-IO by the regime at the national level, at the state level, and at the local government level have been taken by the president through unilateral dismissals and appointments of members from his party and loyalists. Our calls for dialogue and the escalation of political tension in South Sudan have fallen on deaf ears. President Salva Kiir has rejected dialogue and all diplomatic efforts and engagement for peace to prevail in our country. President Salva Kiir ordered these forces, the SSPDF, and invited foreign troops into the country to carry out attacks on the forces who were undergoing security arrangements exercise in the training and cantonment centers throughout the country. He has also attacked our civilian population and bombed our villages in Upper Nile, in Equatoria, and Barkazal region, killing innocent civilians, mostly women and children. The aggressive acts of President Salva Kiir has led to renewed political violence, which has now placed the country in a war situation. You are all aware, South Sudan is experiencing renewed political violence and civil war after attacking and driving the peace forces away from the cantonments and training centers, and the continuous attacks on the SPLM, SPLA-IO positions and civilian population. The president has effectively returned the country back to violence, to war, to suffering, to displacements, to production of refugees and IDPs. The president removed all the members of the SPLM, SPLA-IO from the government, including the first vice president. The president has also proceeded to illegally amend the RRCs, the constitution, and laws that were amended pursuant to the agreement. He is now in the process to legalize his violations of an agreement that was once meant to resolve conflict in South Sudan, to bring stability in South Sudan, to introduce institutional reform, legal reforms in the system of governance and state of South Sudan. He has rejected the process of the permanent constitution making and the transitional justice processes of truth, reconciliation, and healing, of accountability by hybrid court, of reparation of people who lost their property, people who are displaced and lost their homes. President has rejected all this and thrown them out of the window. The agreement has been effectively abrogated. It has now been reduced to a literature and a reference book. The citations of the agreement in the ongoing court trials only serve the purpose of pointing out legality of our argument and the argument against the accusation levied against our colleagues in the court. It also points out violations by the regime contrary to the agreement, which has been signed by all the signatories and also the guarantors. The agreement has been rejected, violated, and abrogated by President Salva Kiir Mayardit. And he has not only done it today, he has also done it in 2016. He has again done it in 2025, as we are witnessing today. President Salva Kiir has announced elections in December 2026. This is a desperate move to search for sham legitimacy, void of peace, void of security, void of stability, and any progress in South Sudan. We want to state clearly that we are not against elections in South Sudan. Elections is a popular demand of the people. It's an exercise where people will express their interests, their will, sovereign will, to free and fairly elect their leaders. We cannot accept in South Sudan elections which will take place for the first time of its kind, which will not be credible, which will not be free and fair, and which can throw the country into political turmoil and disintegration. Such election we cannot accept, especially when they are held at the backdrop of violations of an agreement, of unresolved conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. As a reward of violating an agreement, we cannot accept elections that is being held after destruction of peace process and without electoral infrastructure, without registration of voters, without census, without reforms of the judiciary. We cannot accept this election because it will be a tinderbox and a dangerous escalation of conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. The regime has lost all its legitimacy and support bases, including from among its dwindling supporters in Barakazal, in Upper Nile, and in Equatorial regions. They have closed down all political and civic spaces. In the military fronts, the provocative attacks by the regime in Jongole state, in which from Wat, before we captured Wat, and from Patai, and from UI, they have been dividing our civil population in Lao area, Greater Lao area, and in Gawar, Greater Gawar area, Majak, in Oyet, sending forces to attack our civil population. To raise this incident force us to retaliate. It forced us to move to defend ourselves, especially by occupying Wat, and occupying Patai, and occupying Wau in Oyet, and occupying UI in Nirol, Uro, areas in Uro and in Akobo. They are all effectively now under our control. And the outlying villages, SPLM, SPLM-IO now controls over 80% of Jongole State. The regime forces are demoralized and are destroyed by poor service condition, lack of salaries and wages, tribalism, and disorientation. In Unity State, we have also gained a lot of momentum in self-defense after when the regime tried to disarm our forces, the contingent of the unified forces in around Bentiu. The regime forces have been defeated in several fronts in Unity State. The regime now has resorted into extra-legal activities, including humanitarian blockades to the IO control areas, recruitments and conscription of child soldiers in Warab, in northern Barakazal, in Lake State, in Upper Nile State, Greater Pibur administrative areas, etc. This act of lawlessness and forcing school-going children to abandon school and be dragged to the front line to fight senseless war, we want to condemn in the strongest term possible. And we call upon the parents, we call upon the population and the communities where these illegal activities are taking place to resist the regime. We have no interest in war. We have no interest in fighting our brothers and sisters who are being dragged to the front line because the peace agreement has been abrogated and has been destroyed by the regime of President Salva Kiir. We wanted peace. That's why we moved to Juba in order to implement the peace agreement. The accusation against us by the regime that we are warmongers, that we have destroyed peace, is baseless. It's baseless and useless, unfounded, because they were the ones who started this war by arresting our leaders, our chairman and commander-in-chief, arresting our colleagues, including the chief of staff of the SPLM, SPLIO forces. They started by attacking the cantonments and the training centers. They pursued our forces into the forest. They bombed our civilians and citizens in the countryside. They're the ones who started by inviting foreign troops into our soil, into our land, in order to kill our people and destroy peace process. They use cluster and chemical bombs on our innocent civilians and citizens. They intentionally targeted our civilian population. They violated the UN embargo by importing more arms and ammunition into the country in order to wage war and destroy a peace process. They have committed war crimes and crimes against humanity and crimes of genocide against our people. They are now engaged in a blackmail and propaganda where the regime claims that the leadership of the SPLM, SPLIO has resigned or is about to resign. They claim that we are now undergoing internal crisis and disunity. I want to dismiss this with contempt, that they are all false, baseless, and unfounded. I am put the chairman and the commander-in-chief of the SPLM, SPLIO. My chairman and commander-in-chief has been arrested, has been detained in Juba, and dozens of my colleagues, they have been detained in Juba. And those who are under open arrest, who cannot leave Juba, either to travel to the States or to travel outside the country, they are all under detention. They are all under restriction by the regime. The regime is the one who started war, who is now causing blackmails. I'm not a warmonger. I'm not against peace in South Sudan. I have not defected. I'm still the chairman and commander-in-chief of the SPLM, SPLIO forces and the party. I'm here put until the release from detention of my colleagues. My chairman and commander-in-chief will continue defending ourselves and defending the civil population. We will not accept to surrender to the enemy, to surrender to the regime that is anti-peace, that is targeting our people. We shall not surrender to them. We will continue resisting and defending ourselves and our population. As the enemy continues with the rejection of dialogue, rejection of the peace process, rejection to release the chairman, commander-in-chief of the SPLM, SPLIO forces, we will continue resisting. I call upon all of you, members of the public, the members of the SPLM, SPLIO, to stand with the leadership, to resist, to call for the release from detention of our chairman and colleagues who are now under detention in Juba, being tortured in Juba, being kept under very squalid condition, You stand firm, resist the regime, stand firm for the release of our colleagues and the chairman, stand firm to resist every propaganda, stand firm to resist any blackmail by the regime against the party. We are here to move forward, to move together in unity, unity of the political wing, unity of the military wing. Those who are disoriented should think, should stop and think that the future without your resistance is very dark, is very bleak for us, ourselves, and for our citizens who are being bombed, who are in the detention, who are in the extermination camp, in the IDPs, who are in the refugee camps. The future is very bleak. We must continue steadfast resistance against the regime that has destroyed our country, that has looted all the resources, that has looted over $50 billion from our coffers, from our citizens. We have never seen development. We have never seen agriculture. We have never seen industrialization. We have never seen production of energy from Fula, from Beden. We have never seen export of our resources, except the oil that is being exported and the resources being stolen and being eaten by few cliques in Juba who are surrounding Salva Kiir and Salva Kiir himself, the first family, the relatives and his friends. We have never seen any development. We cannot allow the regime to continue. We'll continue resisting in Jonglei State. As we have gained now upper hand on the ground, in the field, I call upon all the citizens to resist their mobilization, their counter-revolution strategy, to resist the conscription that is going on. I take this opportunity to thank all those who stood with us from the beginning, since 2013, when the regime started targeting our people. I am thanking all the diplomats who have stood with the people of South Sudan, calling for dialogue, calling for peace process, supporting our civil population, providing for the humanitarian and relief services. I call upon you not to give up, to continue standing with the people of South Sudan, continue helping our innocent civilians, continue standing with the refugees and IDPs, continue standing with the common man and women in the countryside. I call upon you to continue calling for dialogue, to continue supporting the SPLM, SPLA-IO in its quest for durable peace in South Sudan, in its quest for dialogue to resolve the conflict in South Sudan, in its quest to defend itself and defend the innocent population. I call upon all the citizens to stand in support of our innocent civilians and the members of SPLM, SPLA-IO. With these remarks, I thank all of you for your audience. Let us move forward. There is no defection. There is no any resignation. We are moving forward for victory in the year 2026. Thank you so much for your audience.
Then you have it. You have it. The speech. Those of you asking when this video was today, was recorded by Palamoon Thomas. He's now is in the studio with me. So he brought in Oyet in their IO media platform in YouTube channel. So this video was today recorded. So I played that. So now Oyet will not be here with that, but Palamoon is here. So Palamoon is the one who bring in Oyet Nathaniel today. So this video is for today. So now you guys listen to his speech. It's about 26 or so minutes. So before I give a chance to Palamoon, now Oyet talk about he's not a warmonger. He's not, but and also he contradicted himself that the SPLM control 80% territory in Jonglei State. Okay. And at the same time, he claimed himself that he's not a warlord. And he said that the capture SPLM capture 80% of the area in Jonglei. And he mentioned those who all Akoba, and you name it. Okay. So, and another thing, though, let's talk about where we are now. Okay. You didn't talk about the root cause of why his chairman is locked up in house arrest. He didn't talk about it. He didn't talk the genesis of Nasser crisis that lead him to run away from Juba and go to nearest country and then declare a war and then mobilize and the IO start attack. Now, Palamun, those are the questions that you will answer on behalf of Oyet Nathaniel. As you are now, you guys are in war mode. You guys are declaring war. You are fighting with the government. You said that you capture most of the village town in Jonglei area. And also, your chairman, your acting chairman, now is saying that he's calling for a release of his former chairman, Dr. Yang Machar, in house arrest. And he's facing a crime against humanity and those who are killed in Nasser in March. So this what he's doing. What you guys have to has a IO declare a war, and you are about. And do you guys think that you guys put your chairman at risk? So welcome. Okay. So yeah. Okay, your sound is so. This is the thing, Yakwana. While we're waiting for Pramod to prepare himself, those of you who are watching right now, I'm not going to bring anybody in Clubhouse, but if you want to join us in the studio, I will put a link down on the comment section, and then you click that link and you can join us in the studio. But I'm not going to bring anybody up in the Clubhouse yet until we close the studio. So. Now, let's talk about Genesis, what happened in Nasser. The reason why why SPLM now is losing and the chairman is in house arrest. So the Oyet now declared a war, so it's fighting, and he called for the release of his chairman. And what if the government is not released his chairman? And what if the government now, they're giving a playbook. The government now is going to say that, okay, government having a card to play to the national community. You see, it was said, you see, the Oyet now is declared a war against the government, okay? And this war that he's causing, killing people and civilians are displaced in Jonglei State area or in Nasser area, this will be added into a crime already Dr. Yamucha had been accused of in Nasser. And do you guys think the government will release Dr. Yamucha in house arrest? That's a question. Second question, how do Dr. Yamucha feel about what Oyet is doing? And how do the family of Yamucha feel about Oyet, what he's doing? Declare a war against the government while their son, husband, brother's uncle is in house arrest and facing a court. So those are the questions. So you, as well as our supporters, special support of Dr. Yak, at least, because have to now, we didn't hear from Nathaniel that he is no longer supporting Riek Machar, but he is, as he said in his own word, that Riek Machar is still his chairman, and he's the acting chairman. But now, what if Dr. Riek Machar is not released? What if they caught evicted Dr. Riek Machar? Okay. This military that he weighed in against the government, we think he will win, because now they are calling about this propaganda institution that they are going to Juba to release their chairman. mean, which I see that as not relevant. The only thing they are doing right now is causing a displacement, suffering of civilian for those areas that they are attacking in Jonglei, the part of Jonglei, and also in the Victoria area, like yesterday they attacked Nairus. Okay. So and where what I the information I received here, they said they were defeated and they ran away. So for the moon, these are the questions that you guys are answering. So let me know if you are coming back, Palmoon. Are you hearing me? Okay, before, yeah, while we're waiting for Palmoon, okay, are you ready? Your mic, yeah. I think I cannot hear you, Palmoon. It seems like your mic is not connection.
Unmute is muted. Let him unmute himself.
Even though it's a mute, unmute yourself, Palmoon.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, yeah, because I have to disconnect some of the, yeah. Brother Madit, thank you so much for inviting me to come to your show. And I'm also like to greet all of our people, those who are listening from Clubhouse, those who will be listening later on. I'm so delighted to be in our platform. I know if for the last 7 years, this is a platform that we started our political conversations when we begin to talk about the issues of our country. This platform is not new to me, and that is why I'm very, very glad to be with you and discuss the issues of our country. Today, the nation address by the acting chairman is very vital to our people, very vital to all the people that have been doubting about what is happening within the SPLM IU. There are very important issues that make us to bring the acting chairman to address the people. One is the false narratives that are being disseminated on the media for the last 3 days. And we thought that is very, very important for us to bring him to interact with South Sudanese. We know the objectives behind the false narratives to divide the IO community, and that is something make us to bring General Oyet to make sure that he can communicate this message to the people of South Sudan. And I think he did it. He did it today. Many people listened to what he said it today in our platform. The second thing that make us to bring him is to talk about peace that is, lacking in our country. Madit, you can see our country need peace, not war. Our country need dialogue, not distractions. Therefore, you heard from the acting chairman today, the language that he communicated to the people of South Sudan is all about peace that we are looking for as a South Sudanese. Destruction is not a way forward. Destruction cannot build and nurture the nation. Destruction can divide and brutalize the community. Therefore, the message today that has been said by the acting chairman is all about peace. He talked about war are being imposed on the IO. IO never thought that we can go back to war. IO was not have not have anything in mind about war, but the war has been imposed on IO, and what IO is doing now is what we call it a self-defense. You remember during the implementation of the peace agreement, all the cantonment areas have been destroyed. Most of our leaders have been removed from the government offices. But still, Dr. Riek Machar was saying that it is better for us to sit down and talk about the future of our country. And that is what the message acting chairman echoed today. Many people, they think that maybe Oyet is for war. And I think these are the narratives that we see flying on social media, that Oyet is a man of war. You heard today from him. He never he never talked about war. But what he talked about is the self-defense, building a nation and coming together as a South Sudanese so that we can move this country forward. And that is the message Oyet tried to channel to the people of South Sudan. He also talked about the importance of dialogue. You see, our country, as we speak, deserve not war. Our country deserve all of us to sit down as a people, and then we need to check ourselves. What can we do as a people to bring our people and make sure that we can sit down as a people and then come up with the way forward? Because what we have now is a peace agreement, and peace agreement is not perfect. We've been saying this for almost 7 years. This peace agreement is not perfect. It is a peace agreement that it cannot be conveyed. Anybody cannot convince about this peace agreement. But we have no options. We have no options as a people. So we need to implement the peace agreement. We need to reconcile our people, and we have to lay the foundation of the system that can be able to protect the people of South Sudan. And that is what Oyet is standing for, and that's what he today spoken to the people of South Sudan. You also talked about the now Oyet is coming up with the strategy of war. I read it on Sunday. Sunday, John talked about it. Oyet is moving from the peace strategies to war strategies, which is not true. What Oyet is doing now is all about peace. You see, it's all about peace. And he's coming up with the strategy of how he's going to communicate the message to the people of South Sudan, and also make the leadership in Juba understand that South Sudanese are suffering. You see, and that's what Oyet is all about, to make sure all of us, we can come together and build a country that can protect us, a country that, the people of South Sudan enjoy. You see, we can look at what is happening across the country, the bombardment, the displacement, the hunger. Children are not going to schools. There is no any infrastructure development. And all this caused by war. War is not a good thing. You see, and Ayo and Oyet is always talking about Kir need to think about bringing country together. You see, and that is what Oyet is always talk about. The narrative that has been preached that Dr. Machar have the problem with Oyet, that is not true. Oyet been doing what the chairman is supposed to be doing. Oyet was not replaced. Oyet has no any problem with those in Juba. Instead of those in Juba, they are, sending out the message to the people of South Sudan and telling what is flying on social media is not true. And I think it is testified by them. So for us to move forward, we need to stop what we call it a propaganda, and let's listen to one another as South Sudanese. For me, I'm seeing that what Oyed is doing is the right way. You see, because he's telling South Sudanese that war is not an option.
Okay.
War is not
Okay,
an
let us spot that for a second. You said that what Oyet is doing, war is not an option. But he's fighting though. He's fighting. He's saying that he captured, as well I will capture 80% of territory in Jonglei state. Is that not a war for the moon?
Okay, yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
understandable.
yeah. Isaac, you can come up. Yes, Isaac, can you come up in the studio for a second? You can just put on off your camera, but you can come up and ask your question. I didn't hook up my speaker with the so they unless you can hook up in your side, Isaac. Do you want to come? Okay, good. Yeah, go ahead. Ask your question, Isaac.
All right. Okay, let me just close the clubhouse.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Philemon, for coming up. I would like to thanking you for your courageous and the statements that you are doing, so saying to the people of South Sudan. But I have two things to say here, the part of the questioning and also it's a warning. Because there's a saying, I want to start with the saying that a person is holding a fly in his hand and he asked the other person, is this fly alive or is dead? The the answer is all wrong, but the wise person said that the life of the fly in your hand is in your hand responsibility, because if you said it's dead, he can just open his hand and the fly will fly away. When you said it's dead, I mean it's alive, he can crush it. We know Dr. Riek Machar, the first vice president of the Republic of South Sudan, is going under court proceeding. And now the party that he is leading, the acting chairperson, is waging war against the government who is trying his chairperson. What do you think? The government, are these not will be profiles and added to the accusation to his chairperson? That's the question. Number two, you said that we, SPLM IO, we are for peace. If you are for peace and you are waging war, there is a statement you said, Mr. Pilemon, that is the protection or we are defending ourselves. But the government did not attack your areas. It is you who is attacking the area. The SPLM IO is attacking the position of SSPDF, like what is happening in Nairuz and in another part of Jonglei. How can we get into the right channel of the peace here if we want to talk about the peace? That's my question to you. And thank you so much, Abraham Madit. I yield you the mic.
Thank you, Isaac. Very good question. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, yeah, thank you, brother Isaac. I'm glad to see you for a long time. I heard that you went to Juba, which is good. To answer some of your questions.
That's Mapur, not him.
Oh, no, it is not him. Okay. Yeah, to answer some of your question, the root cause of the conflict that we are in today is because of what happened in Nasser. What happened in Nasser, it was a political motivated case. and it was planted by some of the elements in Juba to destroy the peace agreement. And they did it. They did it. They destroyed the peace. They declare war against the IO and the people of South Sudan. And that is something we cannot take away from it. The second thing, for the leadership of the SPLM IG in Juba, they would prioritize the suffering of the people of South Sudan. They begin the military campaign against IO in cantonment areas, around Juba. They also declare war in Western Equatoria and in Eastern Equatoria and some parts of Upper Nile state, which is, you can understand that they meant to destroy the peace agreement. And as South Sudanese, we know we suffer enough for this war. And when we talk about this war is imposed on the SPLM IO, it is a truth. You see, you can see so many statements has been released by African Union, by Troika and neighboring countries because of what is happening in the country. To say that IO attack the government forces first, it is not a truth statement. If you look at the what is happening around the peace agreement, it is not started only in Nasser, by Nasser incident. You can see when the Minister of Defense have been removed from the position, and you can see most of the IO leaders from the National Unity Government has been removed. And that is an indication that the SPLA IG, which is our partners in the peace agreement, they are not for peace. You see, they are not for peace. That is why they are start stripping away some of the members of the IO from the leadership. And lastly, they declare war against the people of South Sudan. And that is a fact. The other question that Madit asked, when you are in self-defense, you can fight the war. It doesn't mean that you declare the war against the government. Because what Oyet is doing is actually what we call it a self-defense. Because he has no any options. You see, he has no any option in his hand. The option that he has is for the government to recall back the war and make sure that Dr. Machar is released and call the IO leadership for the dialogue. And if the IO was called for the dialogue, then they refuse. And I think that's where the South Sudanese blame the IO leadership that they don't want dialogue. But that is not happening. You see, you can see the government is bringing the mercenaries in Juba. And that's one of the big problems that as South Sudanese, we need to look at the way forward. Because all of us, under the leadership of the SPLM IO, we believe that war will not be an option. Because war destroyed life, war destroyed our communities, war cannot allow us to build our nation. And I think that is what Oyet is doing to make sure that we have to go back to the dialogue and let's bring a comprehensive solution to the people of South Sudan. And that is a fact. The other thing I want you guys to look at it is when Oyet talked about the government is anti-peace, you can see now, if they meant for justice, what they are doing to the acting chairman, there is no reason that they come up with Stephen Parr to destroy the peace agreement. Not only that, you can see they are removing most of the leaders that are the followers of Dr. Riek Machar and replacing them with Stephen Parr groups, which they know that it is against the peace agreement. You see, Dr. Machar is under this sham court. But if the IG meant for the better of our country, then what they are doing of removing the IO leaders from the leadership, it is completely wrong, and it is a declaration of war and declaration of destruction of the peace agreement. And I think that is what also we need to consider, and I think Oyet talked about it. The other thing, you also see they are moving forward with the election, you see, and they came up with the what we call it amendments of the RCS, which is against the protocols in the RCS. You see, RCS actually was signed in the spirit of compromise, right? And if it is signed in the spirit of compromise, then what SPLM IG is doing is completely against the peace agreement. What we are looking as IU, the first thing, war need to be stopped. And who's going to stop that war? It is Salva Kiir, the president, and the IG. They need to stop the war. And we need to go back and lay the foundation of the system that we want to represent us, which lead us to look at our security sector. Because the huge problem in our country is not only leadership, it is the fragmentation of the security sector. You don't know who is the national army. You don't know who is going to represent the people of South Sudan in the national army. Therefore, our objective is to make sure that there will be a security reforms whereby we need to look at our security and making sure we have to vet, retrain, and reintegrate all the armed forces in our country so that we can have a national army. The second thing we need to look at is you can see there is a huge problem in our country, which is the economic problems. The country is now running out of money. So Sudanese are living without jobs because of the economic problems in our country. And we cannot reform our economy if the war continue across the country, which is a bigger problem that we need to look at it as South Sudanese if we're able to stop this war. But because of the problems, some of the elements within the Juba regime, they are not for peace. They actually for destruction because they benefit from the war. You and me, we are sitting and talking here. But those who are leading us in Juba, most of them, they are not the good guys. They are there for their own benefits. They are there, their kids are not living in Juba. They are there working for their own interests. Therefore, as South Sudanese, system like that is not going to benefit our children and benefit the country. And we, as the members of the IO, we are very keen to make sure that the system needs to be reformed so that it can benefit all our people. And that is what Oyet for, and that is what Oyet is fighting for. So Oyet is not an enemy of peace, but he's fighting against the elements that want to destroy the peace agreement. So this is a fact. You talked about the root causes. Yes, all of us, we know that the root causes are the decision that has been made by the IG in the government. They are the root causes of the problems. So if people are suffering across the Upper Nile, across Greater Barkazal, across Greater Equatoria, it is because of the decision that has been made in Juba. You cannot blame that to the IO, because IO, as we speak, the IO is have nothing to control the war or control the implementation of the peace agreement. IO is just, if you look in other way, it looks like we are begging peace. You see, IO has no any power, whether political power, whether economic power, whether it's military power. We don't have it because we went to Juba with our empty hand to make sure that peace must come to our country. But because of elements of anti-peace within Salva Kiir camp, they begin to use our president Juba as a witness. And that's why they, put the chairman in prison without taking his immunity out. And that's what we are experiencing in the country. So for us, as those
and
make sure that peace is returned to our country.
Let us be honest with one another. if we need a peace and we need unification in our country, we have to be honest. We have to talk the facts. We don't need to be doing propaganda. So what we are explaining here is doesn't make any sense at all. Because you fail. The reason why your chairman, Dr. Yamachar, is house arrest is because the word of Nasser. And who called the word of Nasser is IO and the White Army. Okay? Government didn't attack. Government were attacked. This, we are so Sudan, we know what's happening. And we know the reality, the facts. But what you are saying and the rest and what you're saying, you guys are lying to this, You cannot say that here Oyet is self-defense. Meanwhile, he's saying that he's controlling 80% of territory in Jonglei State. Meanwhile, the general of the ground, they are threatening, calling the civilian. So even the tribal war, like what Abel Kon wrote up here, you can read that. And these are the general of SPLIO. And has don't mistaken to Palamun. That's what you are saying, and what Oyet is saying. He's just a talking point. But the reality on the ground, when we speak, we're receiving a lot of permission that SPLIO, there are like 535 defected in Lair, in hometown of Dr. Yang Mashar, the George SSPDF. Okay, and you have seen Wat and Wuyor and Akoba, those white army who came there. They are not just fighting for a regime change. They are just doing like robbing, doing a lot of damages, and then they go back. As we speak, we hear that there's a lot of white army and IO ran. Those areas you are talking, White and those areas, they're empty. But here you are coming to social media, lying to the what happened, and you guys said for the last few weeks or 2 weeks, you guys been preaching this. Oh, we are marching, we are going to Juba, calling all the civilian in Bor that do not stopping us. Our soldiers are going. You are just talking ball that you guys having a power to go overthrow the government, which is not accurate. You guys don't have that, and you are doing it right now. Okay. Just only a propaganda you guys are doing. So if we are honest to one another and we need peace in the country, we have to admit your fault too. You are accusing the government, but you don't see your own self, what you are admitting. Are you a part of a problem or are you a part of a solution? Okay, let's talk about the root cause of what happened currently. I'm not going back 2013. I'm currently speaking about 2025 in March. What happened in Nasser? That's what deep government this window to remove some of your officers in the government and remove some of the governors from IO and replace them for SPLM, because the SPLM leaders, because they see the SPLIO they are not for the people, they are just violent. Because all the state that ruled by IO before, nothing, there's no peace in that area. It's just a war. So okay. Now you are not seeing that. You are not seeing that. So you talk about the Stephen Parr. Okay, Stephen Parr is not like Oyet. Okay, what you are talking about here, that's what Stephen Parr talk about, is a peace. Oyet is not supporting a arm. I would pick up arm and fight. No. Yeah. So Stephen Parr is want peace to continue, and he want. This is the person. If President release Dr. Riek Machar today, it will be released account of Stephen Parr, not account of Oyet Nathaniel, because Oyet Nathaniel he pick up arm and fight with the government and is killing. Okay, he's a warlord, even though he is denying he's not a warlord. He's a warlord. He's pick up arm and fighting. Okay, It's fighting in Nauru, it's fighting in White and all other areas. Okay. So, Polomun, we need to be honest. If we need, like all of this talk for the last 7, 8 years, 13 years, it's not helping our country. Okay. The SPLIO has been divided is 7 factions. Okay. So it is which SPLIO will bring a genuine peace in the country with the government? Nothing. In order to do that, Polomun, the only thing the peace can come in our country, insecurity can be restored in our country, it have one army. Okay? And SPLIO will lead by Oyet. You don't want that, they don't want to put down their weapon and join the SSPDF. SSPDF is not for President Salva Kiir, is a country army. If we need a unification of army, it's simple. Why don't you SPLIO join SSPDF? And then the government, and then let the, yes, of course, you guys doing this because you guys don't want election to take place in November or December 2026. So let the country go to election because you guys say that, oh, we are not against the election, but we need a free and fair, a credible election. So how can the free and fair and credible election come when you guys are fighting? Okay. So in order access that you guys are you see that is a law of the land, the access is not working. Well, Nathaniel is one of the deputy speaker in parliament. He's one of the star rising in South Sudan government political arena. And at the same time, for the last 7 or 10 years, he was in that position. And as well, I will have 33% power sharing in the government. And you guys fail to do those. So, Oyet has a deputy speaker in the House. He have that capability. He have a law in his hand. Again, he misuse that and then pick up arm and fight. And what you are saying, and what you saying said that we have nothing to lose. We have no power. All of everything is gone. We have no power. The only option to do is violence. That's what you are saying, and that's what we used to say. That is not called self-defense. That is called you have nothing to lose. You just put the life of innocent people at risk. Let people die. Let people display. We don't care. That's what you guys are doing, Apple.
No, that's not what we are doing. Thank you for bringing up that one. You know, the SPLM-IO is not against peace agreement. You remember in 2018, Dr. Machar went to Juba without military, without anything. And the reason he went to Juba is for the peace to come to our country. See, for the peace to come to our country. And because of the anti-peace, people that are benefiting from our resources, they begin to irritate and working to destroy the relationship between Salva Kiir and Dr. Riek Machar. This is a fact. The other thing I want to answer is, some of you are saying, why not you can put the weapon down? You know, I always say this, what is happening in our country is a civil war that has been imposed on the SPLM-IO. SPLM-IO didn't choose war, they chose peace. That's why you can see Dr. Machar is suffering under brutal, unjust court that is taking place in the country. In order for us to bring peace, there is no way out. We must implement the peace agreement. And the reason we are pushing for the implementation of the peace agreement, it is because peace agreement is the only document that can allow us to check our security sector, to establish the institutions, to build and bring our people back from the places where they scatter across the country and neighboring countries, which will lead us to chapter 5, whereby the justice that we are talking about should be implemented and everyone must be accountable for the atrocities that has been committed during the war. We are not shying away from it. You know, one of our push is to make sure that justice and accountability is the only roadmap that can reconcile South Sudanese. You see, and that's what we are pushing for it as a SPLM-IO, to make sure that we cannot build this nation without justice and accountability. Those who committed crimes, they must be accountable. So that is what we are looking to happen. Let me answer a question that was raised by Brother Abiel Kon about the target. And we've been hearing this, and I've been talking about this in Clubhouse. IO, as a political organization, is not against Jim. And I want all of you to take it from me. IO is not against Jim community as preached by some of the people across the social media. IO is a political, platform with all its organs, manifesto, to make sure that there must be peace in our country. And we are talking this without contradictions, because the problem in our country is not the tribes. The problem in our country is the leadership that using the tribal policies not to benefit the tribes that they came from. You see, the leadership that preaching the ideas of, a tribal narratives that divide our people, and that is what we are against it. Because South Sudan, to be a brighter country, we must use the talented of our tribes to build a nation that can reflect and protect our people. So that is the message that I want to make it very clear. Those who are preaching tribal narratives, you can count them, but that is not the policy of the SPLM-IO as we are waging for, total regime change. Because what we are thinking of it, the problem is the regime, not the people. You see, the problem is the regime. And that's why we moved from what we call the reform to total regime change, so that we can build a system that can unite the people of South Sudan. So that is what we for. You talked about Stephen Parr. You see, the reason that we blame Salva Kiir leadership is because of his politics of war and divide and rule. What they did is they actually brought up Stephen Parr to divide the people within the SPLM-IU. You see, and that's why they give them all the, all the powers, so that it can look beautiful before South Sudanese that is working for peace. But that's not the realities. We can go back to the history. Taban Dengai did the same, and so many did the same. Did they succeed? They didn't succeed. And that's why we are saying that peace agreement need to be respected. And the only way that can bring all of us to build this nation is for the government of Salva Kiir to look critical on what is happening in the system, and let's go back to the drawing board so that we can be able to sit down as South Sudanese. Not only IO. You see, sometimes you are mistaken. Some of the people are mistaken that, okay, when we bring IO back, that will be the end of the war. That's not true. What we are looking is what we call it a comprehensive solution for the people of South Sudan. What do we mean by comprehensive solution for the problem of South Sudan? It is we want to bring all the oppositions that is outside. Because if we implement this peace agreement as become fragile now, then tomorrow the other opposition also will be encouraged to take the guns. You see, therefore, we in the IO, we believe that we learn from the mistakes and we need to make sure that we can bring a comprehensive solution to the problem of South Sudan by bringing all the opposition. So that is what we want to do. The other thing I want to, I want to say it here is the election. You see, we've been in opposition of what the conduct of the election that the IG is doing. Election, nobody is against it. Myself, I want to contest in my consistencies in Maban, right? And how can I contest if there is no election? You see, that is why the way the IG coming up with the election is not helping. It's actually, they want to proceed and silence the voices of the majority by coming up with the sham election process and taking away some of the most important thing, you see, in the answers. And we are saying this not because we don't want to contest, but we are saying South Sudanese are bitterly divided. And this division, even if we go to the election today, the country is going to go back to war again because we didn't solve the root causes of the conflict, the grievances that has been built within the South Sudanese for the last 21 years or last 41 years that we've gone through civil war. We want to address that. That's why chapter 5 is very, very important for us to look at things very critically and reconcile our people so that when we move forward, nobody can carry on with that, grievances. And that is the direction that we need to take as a country.
Okay, thank you, Palmon. As you said, that's a very good point. Abiel said that about you guys ally with the non-signature from RSS, which is NAS. NAS are not a part of RSS, and you guys are allied with them. That shows that you guys are not follow the RSS peace agreement. So what you say? Let me play this video very quick.
يوم داقت مقول عنه نازلو الشكل المانيو نظام ده نحن ما دايرين نحن طيران اللي بيجيبوا برا بقروي بتاع الجنوب ده كله يشغلوا ونحن لسه ماشيين قدام نحن نتكلم بناس ناصر يوم داقت مقول عنه نازلو ما جنوبين بيجا قلب نفوسهم الشكل المانيو نظام ده نحن ما دايرين نحن نازلو نحن بيشغل في النظام نحن بيشغل بالنظام شكل بتاعنا ده ما يكون زي بتاع 91 بتاع 91 كربوا مواطنين كاشف فوقه كوم الماشي ده ما بيعرف لانه مواطنين ديل بمجي يعمل كرابشن في دور ده ما دايرين مواطنين عشان يمشي مع جيش كله مواطنين يفضل في بيوتهم نحن بشاكل مع قادات انتم ناس جونغلي اقعد كان ناس جونغلي يا ناس بور ما يقولكم ناس لو يرجع في كلام بتاع زمان ده كذب جونغلي ده بتاعنا بور ده بتاعنا نحن دايرين ماسكر الفيو جيش يا نحن دايرين نحن نشاكل فوقه ولا دايرين اكل من دول نحن بنقوم باكل بتاعنا هنا هربات المافي ده نحن لقيناه بقى هنا هربات دبابات المافي يوم داك ده لقيناه معنا لقينا فوقه جوز بلقاوه في قعدات الموجود لانه ده ياو بتاع الجنوب نحن نمشي الدول بيقول لانه نازلو ما دايرين شكل ده كده بلاي ابتاع اذانك تسمع في شنو يصل في لو كذب اللي بيقولوا لانه في ناس بضرب سلاح في كوبا كومريد كلام ده ما بيجي لو انت رسلت قروي بتاعك ده قروي بتاعنا ده بتاع الجنوب بيجي بياكلوك وما في حاجه بيحصل انتم يا شباب بتاع كوبا اللي بيجي بقروي ده لو قرويكم وصل امسكوا bilai kan balak.
Okay, so those are your general. And I have more video to play, which is I'm not going to play those because that is we run out of time. So now, Palamun, how you see? You said that you are not declared a war, and you listen to all your general are saying. Okay, so those what you guys are seeing. Let me see. Yes, someone keeps sending me some stuff. So that's what, as you see, Palamun. All your generals are saying on the ground, declare a war. There's nothing, there's no language for the peace. So election that you are talking about, in the beginning, okay, let me see here. See in the beginning, Palamun, SPLM, they are not for election. Okay. You guys can get excuse, create an excuse so that there's no election will take place. Yeah, because there's a video that I received here, and this is a very important video. Let me see here.
Taromala. Aywa viva! Viva! 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 Taromala. Aywa viva! Viva! Aywa viva! Viva! Dr. Majak viva! Viva! Dalale viva! Viva! Nur viva! Viva! Jen lawan jen balat kiri do tot la kiri do wan balat do ala an barkadiya jaro log dor chol die ala an je ben ko soro konti je ben do ge soro kini daro ne mejen we soro wona ala turu me we gandran ge ga amin balar o dole me de me jato kamal ka dole me madole ge choreng mashar reng mashar je la kuara mo konji mu me dana reng mashar kene gunu la chola ga lo lew merom kursina se amil do dole me wale madole me dole ka kene la kuar ko amin balariya yen warga ngwa ala yen warga ngwan ala riga me e dunga ndo ange ganam ga do yidi kan ga shon mi wala nuwar kan kana pal biba Gadoin male. Chwana ngene. Kai kon chwana ro kun na media. Changara ne je jojo yen gar lo ko wat. Sia kutera gar jani sia ne kut. Wal jo mate ne kur. Ebine naser bandak, nebine majurnak. Me sia ber ya pinter me ne lari. Me sia ber go. E sia mayot. Go ga nuor. Ka go ga kondia. Allah jiru la jwal jwal ton balu. Allah baruna ba. Baruna ya nyoba. Mite ga mor me kili ude. Mite ga mor me atina dema. Mite te ga gori ari indal. Kere ni dam dogot.
Chale viva! Viva! Chale viva! Viva! Viva!
Viva! Malana lingon padang. Batula ta tong la jora ni to raima. Batwo ga tam. Allah rol padang mo. Amalo bela jodi yan. Allah mare ni ti to gwa me te bi ko ngai ke jan paire o biben. Allah roi mo tala kaire de. Allah kon chuan ro kot. Chuan ro dan kot ko kon ji kai luong ro dan. Agwa. Ko roi ku da me ji ben. Pal ne je. Pal ne je ra ran che ku. Ko kot me da lo ran luk. Go na dung jang ga ro ad. Atem me to to dan ne. Nat go nga ki jang. Che me ba pan. E je na wi de me. Yala ro uru ma chi wo ran uru mi chwal ne ala ran uru mi chwal wang chai e ka jero yo anta la gode we gwar me la gode bande ne kir garo ade ne kir la musuli ede ne rejo ne ko kuma min le te ne kir ga me la yidar la gag yidar
Okay. Okay, so let me stop there. So you hear that video, Pelmun. I don't write Tognas too. So maybe, but I can listen some of the word because some of the word are familiar with Dinka language, and also I know a little bit of Rutanding at what, but they are familiar. But some of the word I can hear it and listen and know the meaning of it, but some of the word I don't know. So some of you write Tognas, maybe you guys know exactly what this guy is talking. So go ahead. I don't know if you Pelmun can Tognas.
Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing that videos. You know, Brother Madit, I just want to be very, very clear that I listen a little bit about what generals are saying. Were saying. You know, if we look at this war, civilian shouldn't be fighting war. Civilians shouldn't be fighting war. And the SPLM-IU has the forces that can be able to combat the SSPDF. And the general that was talking, the first video that you put it, he was actually advising the White Army not to fight the war because IU has enough forces to confront the anti-peace process that is the SSPDF. You see, and that is what we're supposed to be doing as leaders. You see, the war is not against our communities. The war is not against any tribes. The war is against anti-peace that destroying the lives of South Sudanese. And that is what General meant to make sure that all our people understand this war is not tribal. You see, that's number one. I want people to understand what General was saying. The second thing is the grievances. Brother Madit, South Sudan experiences brutal war since 1955. We never had relative peace in our country. And as a result, as a result, the grievances were built within our people, and easily any political confrontation can be deadly. And that is what we see it is happening in our country. Why I'm saying that some of the journalists that you see speaking, the last video that you put it, the war, like I said it earlier, the war was imposed on the IO leaders. As a result, the government bombarding the areas. Most of the kids have been killed. Most of women, elderly, as brutally killed. And somebody with the right mind, you will get angry and question why the government is targeting the civilians. You see, knowing that they know where the IO forces are located. And that is the reason you can see the the grievances that was built within our people. In turn out, some of the people, they are saying that because this government is tribal, that's why the war is targeted the certain community in our country. And that's the problems. As a South Sudanese, I'm speaking to you that there is no way out. We can build this nation by coming together, looking at the areas that why we are in this war. We need to look at it very critical. The first thing we can look is the leadership itself. You see, the leadership itself. Because if we have wrong leaders, always the wrong leaders will direct us in the wrong direction. You see, wrong leaders always create wars and end wars that we cannot be able to build our society and country. You see, and that is one of the problems that we are seeing. We need to build a leadership that is competent, leadership that is driven by the purposes and objectives to build the nation. In that way, it can lead us to look at the entire security sector. What causing war in our country is because our security mechanism or the security sector is not being vetted. And that's one of the big factor, that is happening in our country and bringing a lot of confusions in our, our political system. The last thing we are looking is, if you look at Oyet, he talked about dialogue, compromises. You see, in any political war, you cannot achieve 100%. In any political agreement, you cannot achieve 100%. Therefore, in our case, we need to make sure that we need to compromise for the best interest of our country. We must dialogue. There is no way out that we can build this nation without sitting down as South Sudanese and dialogue. You see, and coming up with what country we want, all of us. Not only one political party like the IG is doing. They are taking everything and they want everything should come only from them. That is not a way you can lead a country that is diverse. You see? So we are looking forward to make sure that dialogue is the only way that can bring us together. The last point I want to make is, some of the elusive ideas that is happening on the military campaign. I want to make it very clear. We are not elusive to say that, tomorrow we're going to take down the government of South Sudan through military. And also the government of South Sudan should not be elusive by suggesting that they are going to defeat the IU. That's not going to happen. You see, if somebody is thinking that, yes, they have an upper hand in the military power, therefore they don't want to listen to the ideas of dialogue, that you are very elusive. Because in any civil war, yes, the government have an upper hand, but that doesn't mean that they are going to take the opposition down militarily, or the opposition might not have elusive ideas that tomorrow we are going to take the government of South Sudan down militarily. And that's a fact. But what we are looking is, we want to force the government of South Sudan to come back to the table and release Dr. Riek Machar. And we need to redirect them back to the implementation of peace agreement. Because in our mind, we see that peace agreement is very beautiful with the good articles that can, bring us off this war. But because being attacked, being violated, that's why we are not going anywhere. And we want all South Sudanese to unite and force the government of South Sudan to come back to the implementation of peace agreement. That is the only way can take us forward as a country. I know they begin the preparation of moving for election. I want to tell you the truth. Election is not going to happen. And that's what we've been saying from day one. Election is not going to happen unless they want to do the election inside Juba. That is another case. Election will happen when there is a peace and when there's a conducive environment for our people to go and select their leaders. But what they are doing now as a SPLM IG party, they just want to kidnap. They want to make sure that they can force themselves upon the people of South Sudan by sham election. And that's what we see it is going to happen. But for us, we are saying election is not important as we speak, because you can see the bombardment in low areas, you can see bombardment in different parts of South Sudan. So in that way, it is a case that we are making. Election is not going to be the solution for.
So the bombardment that the government is doing for the moon, is it doing for the sake of bombing the area, or bombing the IO? Because you guys cleared a war against the government. Government cannot sit tight. They have to fight back. And this is what you guys are doing. When the government fight back, what you're saying and what you are saying now, and what the rest of IO is saying that government is bombing the civilian. You're calling the White Army as civilian. You're calling the IO forces as a civilian. You see how the propaganda you guys are predicting yourself?
No, we are not predicting ourselves. Yes. White Army.
There's no point SSPDF bombing civilian. SSPDF they are going after White Army that who are causing, when they see, because they are civilians, when they see the White Army are organized themselves and they are about to attack them, that's where they will go in and bomb this area. Okay, but you guys come to the social media and do propaganda. Oh, the government is bombing civilian. Here is look at this comment. This guy said, he said that, to be fair, play the video of the kids, elders who were bombed. Where is this video? I don't have any video.
No, we will send you.
Okay. If you have a video, go react. You can send it to me. Look, I haven't seen any video that the government bombing kids and elderly, and I will not be silent. This is my complaint in the beginning, because I don't want to see a civilian suffer in whether in Nasser or Wulang or Akoba or what. I don't want to see any civilian suffering in that area. But what you guys are saying is that you call the White Army as civilian. That's your propaganda you are doing. And I don't buy that. Okay? You cannot carry AK-47 and you call yourself a civilian. Huh? So go react. What you are doing and what you are saying is a pure propaganda lie. Okay? How in the world, if I have a stone in my hand and throw at Pramun, okay, I have a weapon or I have a knife in my hand. Okay, so this kind of propaganda, you guys need to stop it. Okay, you cannot fighting, like you cannot bite somebody and then you crying and said this Pramun hit me. Why you are the one? Why I'm the one who hit Pramun and I'm crying that the Pramun hit me? This is what you guys are doing. IO forces and White Army, they are attacking SSPDF. And when does SSPDF respond back? Oh, they're bombing the civilian. Huh? What kind of the country are we want? Hmm?
Okay.
So you need and say that you are blaming, oh, this and crying. No, don't blame victim. Okay, your chairman, Nathaniel, already declared that 80% of territory in Jonglei has liberated. They capture 80%, And when the government go there bombing them, oh, they bombing civilian, playing TikTok. So go and react, and also Pramoon, if you guys having a video that SSPDF bomb civilian, please send that to me. And I will do a show on Connect SSPDF. Because I have never seen any video in social media. The picture that I see are the picture that burning the house, and that's can cause of that bombardment what their enemy are, not civilian. And you have seen last week the spokesperson of my SSPD came out and called those civilians in Jonglei area, in that area, in Akobo and other area, Wad and the places I was to leave that area, because that will be a military zone. Okay. So that is my response to you guys.
Yeah, Abraham, can you connect to the clubhouse? I have a very important call here I need to take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me say something that you saying about the White Army. You know, the reason that we are saying that White Army, they're civilians, because they didn't went and attack the government without reasons. The government is the government of the people of South Sudan. The government has the responsibility to maintain peace and also answer the demands of the people of South Sudan. But what we've seen in the approach of the government of South Sudan is very brutal, very brutal. And the reason we are saying that the government is very brutal, it is because the politics in our country become the politics of hate, which become a big problems for the government of South Sudan to look at the reason why the war is continuing in our country. When war broke out,
so you guys captured some of the places in Jonglei.
Yes.
What do you think, if you are in the government shoes, what do you think the government can stop not attacking you guys or your force, or you capture you guys attacking them, capture their forces? Like the same thing happened in Nasser in March last year. That same thing will be happening in
Jonglei. The reason that we are not saying that, we are not saying the government shouldn't be attacking us. We are saying the genesis of the crisis, if managed properly, we wouldn't be in this war, you see, because the reports have been delivered by the government of Upper Nile 2 times, delivered to the President Kiir and presidency, but they tend to undermine it. And the reason they undermine it, because there is some elements within the government, they want the war to continue so that they can destroy the peace agreement. And that's problematic. Secondly, the evidence. I'm working on the evidence of what happened and the bombardments and atrocities that has been committed by the government of South Sudan. Maybe by Saturday, I'm going to post on our channel. Maybe you can take it from there. These atrocities is not going to go away, because it's not only us saying it, but the facts by the human rights is already collected when the government is bombarding indiscriminately the people of Jonglei State and Nasser, which is unthinkable, because as a government, when there is a war, when you're fighting a war, these people, they are your citizens. You shouldn't use a, prohibited chemical weapon to bombard your own people. Never happened in the history of war. You see, and IO, they are not against, the peace agreement. IO is simply saying that what was happened in Nasser is completely was manufactured, by the people in the government in order for them to destroy the peace agreement so that they can be able to continue leading us in the wrong direction. And that is something that we need to consider. So for us, we see the White Army, they have the right for self-defense because they have been targeted. by the government of South Sudan, and that is what we see it is happening. That's why you can see generals, they are telling them that now IO is going to lead the war, and civilians shouldn't be the people that are going to confront the SSPDF. So, and that is the truth, because we don't want civilians to be the people that are fighting the war. At the end of the day, it is a war between the government and the IO, and it's supposed to remain in that way, you see. But because the government has some negative ideas about, people in Upper Nile and in Greater Barkazal, in Greater Equatoria, that's why they use the, prohibited bombs against our people, and that's what we need to look at it, and we need to accept as South Sudanese.
Okay, thank you, Palmon. Belkon, you can wade in.
Thank you, Brother Abraham Madit, and great Comrade Philemon, the other person on the podium, or Nasser Samain, whether in Clubhouse or those that are listening, the audience. I greet all of you. I came, just I didn't have the time actually to listen to what Oyet said if he was here, but I came to talk on those video, the video that we play at the last video and the previous video. As the sons of Upper Nile State, I think we have engaged in a conversation with those of Philemon from SPLM IO and other political party SPLM and those in government, making sure that South Sudan is in a path to peace. But what prompted me to come today is the fact that Philemon seemed to deny some of the remarks that are coming from some of the senior SPLA officers. Among them, the remark that was uttered by Brigadier General wearing uniform, chanting the name of SPLM, IO chairman, threatening not the government, but the people of Jenga Padang in Upper Nile State. That's why I said earlier that if Salmon actually listen, if you listen, Tongmat, then will be good for you. If you don't listen, then someone should interpret it to you what the general have said. It is one thing to fight against the government, because that's SPLM IO has been making campaign that they are fighting to bring the reform, to change the government of President Kiir as an alternative government that in place to govern South Sudan. But when you hear most of the seniors SPLA officers, IO, is speaking in the language that the general have spoken, it is very unfortunate that are the same people that are campaigning to be alternative to the better governing system in South Sudan, are sending a message to a civilian that should not be involved in the conflict. Now, what brings the mother of General Chothons, what brings the mothers of the Jenga Padangs in all the areas, what brings that message that in February that there was a prophecy said that the Jikany will occupy the land of the Padang. And these are not the civilians, these are people that were wearing uniform. There are people that are being commanded now by your acting chairman, General Oyet, in which he want to champion himself as the man of reform, fighting on behalf of SPLM IO. And some of the seniors officers are sending this message to the community that in which if the SPLM IO came to govern South Sudan, they will be there to be governed as well. That's why we say the SPLM IO message of fighting for an inclusive regime change in the government of South Sudan is totally misunderstood. Actually, it's not It's not in place because you cannot hold command forces and you want to wipe out the civilians in Upper Nile State, the Andic tribe in Upper Nile State. And he will be praised by the SPLM leadership that is fighting a justifiable war in South Sudan. Not only alone, not this, some of the diplomats that holding a position in the SPLM position, in the like of General David Biel, known in Clubhouse, spoke, held that they need a change in South Sudan without the Jing. This is what your man that was appointed by Oyet himself to present South Sudan, the SPLM in Sudan as a diplomat. And the language that he spoke is not the language of a person that can actually be seen as a symbol of unity or symbol of fighting for reform in South Sudan. So sometimes we must be very realistic what we are saying. It is very clear that the SLMI actually is not fighting the government of South Sudan, but it took the war as a Jing war that they are fighting for. The other general in Jonglei who spoke also of to be given a path to Juba, give a message to those of Jing Jonglei that if you are afraid to join us, please give us the way that you can fight at Barghazal. These are not ordinary people, Suleiman. And sometimes it's good that we must be realistic of what we are saying. We cannot just sit idly with the other Jing in Upper Nile State, wishing that the SPLM is coming to liberate us when the other way around they're coming actually to massacre the innocent Jing in Upper Nile State. And that is the agenda. And that's why I say that SPLM may be fighting against the Jing, not the government. Because if there's no consequences in such messages are being sent by the seniors officers in your ranking, and the leadership of the SPLM continue to condone those, what will it say, against the movement that want to put himself as alternative to the government of South Sudan. This is a concern. It is not only concern of myself. It's a concern to other Jings up in other state. It's a concern also to other tribes because there was a mocking of other ethnic community like Anuak. They were mocked by this general the other days. That what will we do with them? And this is not, if they are coming from the civilians that are not officers, it will be understandable that there's hunger in the heart of people. But when it coming to those who wearing uniform of the nation, or uniform that they want to be alternative as an army, it should not be let go without being brought to light. And I appreciate Brother Madit here to bring it to this discussion. People of South Sudan have heard what they have said. Those who does not understand Tongnat will be able to find interpreter to go and listen to those messages. Because in most cases, General Hagdor also has actually accepted the responsibility of Nasser attack, that they actually participated in the conflict of Nasser. They have also participated in killing of Majur. And you, Philemon, you were denying this. This was that was actually the White Army who were doing this. Now they came frankly that they're involved. And it's an officer of your SPLM-IO. So this is very clear. It is very clear the objective of SPLM-IO. I want to conclude by saying this. If SPLM-IO for peace in South Sudan, why should they actually form an alliance with the non-signatory to the peace agreement? Because this, if there's a violation, it does not involve the non-signatory. It involves those who have signed the agreement, and SPLM-IO will have a legitimate to raise this concern that the peace has been violated by the government. But when they went further, form an alliance and declare a war, that means the faction of your acting chairman is no longer interested in the peace in South Sudan, but they want to wage a war in which some of us is agree that the conflict actually, as we suffered enough. The people of South Sudan has suffered a lot in this conflict, and the war is not the solution. But if there's the path that you have decided to choose, But the SPLM IO in the bushes of South Sudan, take that responsibility. Don't talk about peace anymore. Talk about why you are fighting the government of South Sudan. But if you are fighting the government of South Sudan, don't make messages. The message you are sending here and the message you generally in the field that are commanding who are sending are not the same. They contradict the objective of SPLM-IO, if it was actually formed to be alternative government in South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you, Abilikon. Palamun, I will give you 2 to 3 minutes to respond, and then all of us can go back to, we'll go to Clubhouse, and then we'll continue our discussion, and then I will close the studio. But before I close the studio, later on, I have a couple of videos to play on the screen, and then I will close, and then let us join. You guys can go to Clubhouse, and then we'll continue our discussion. Go ahead, Palamun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Abielkon. I'm glad to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while. I'm really very delighted to see you on the stage. One thing that I want to bring to your attention, the policy of the government of South Sudan and the Salva Kiir, they are actually implementing what we call it the policy of divide and control. In the policies of divide and control, the government machines control the narratives and the information that is going out, and that's why you can see they divided Nuer as a hostiles and a peaceful community. That is a policy is very dangerous for our peaceful coexistence. The other one you talked about, Jiang Padang. Some of us understand what is happening. We understood very, very, very clear. If you look at the genesis of the crisis in Upper Nile, particularly in Nasser, you may notice that the governor, James Odo, and Deputy Deng Ajo, they actually went to Nasser 2 times. And when they went there, they sat down with all the communities and people in Nasser. And people said it very clearly that there is no any working relationship between the SSPDF and our people in Nasser. And as a responsibility of the state, the governor and deputy, they went to Juba and reported to Salva Kiir and Dr. Riek Machar about the grievances and the crisis in Nasser. Instead of the government to find a way to tackle the situation in Nasser, what they did is they sent James Kong, Ton Balok, and Ulan, and all of them they are children and sons of Upper Nile. And the reason behind they send this the sons of Upper Nile there is not to preach peace. They send them to divide our people based on the ethnic line, which I talked length of time about it. You see, when you want to solve the problems as a government, you have to look at it very critically, not sending people that already have some wounds with the people on the ground. But Salva Kiir didn't done that. The government sent Ton Balok, and knowing that Ton Balok and James Kong and Ulan, they already have some friction with the white army. You see, and not only that, they made it very worse. They sent Agulek and Abishok, they armed them, they sent them in the area, which is something that personally I've been against it. You see, I've been against it because that one is what we call it the policy of divide and control. The moment we divide ourselves based on what is happening, then we cannot be able to settle our problems in the state, which I totally against the approach of the government. You see, now, because of that, you talked about some of the journalists talking about Padang. I don't think no one is against Padang as a community. You see, but these narratives is coming from the government side. That's why you have been, given this information so that you can preach that narratives as a divide and control the way colonialism did during the time of colonizations, which we need to reject. And the reason I'm saying this, look at the war is shifting, the idea is shifting, between political war into the tribal war. Why? Because government want that. You see, they want that to make sure that we can be busy fighting each other's. We can be busy not looking at asking a real question: are our children are going to school? Do there are infrastructure developments, or there's water and all these things? We are busy about Apadang, Nuer, Dinka, and we are really not asking the real question why the government is not providing the services to the people. You see, I should give that sometime we people that understand. We need to change these narratives because nobody is going to wipe out Padang. Padang is a community. You see, even America, a powerful nation, cannot wipe out a community. There's no logic on that. But because the government and the Salva Kiir, they control that narratives, use it as a weapon to divide our people. That's why they are coming up, oh, we are going to wipe out this community for them to control us. We need to change that narratives so that nobody can live in the perception of IO is coming to wipe out the community. Even some of us we cannot allow the community should be wiped out simply because they disagree with them. It's not going to happen. The last point you made it about NAS, I see many people they're repeating that why NAS alliances with the IO. And I think it was explained by the acting chairman in our first meeting when we invited him in the clubhouse. He said it very clearly that when war broke out in Juba, Dr. Machar is put it in jail. Some of the IO leaders, they have been chased out of Juba. Cantonments near Juba was destroyed. Then IO ran for their safety. And they ended up in the bush. So in the bush, you found your brothers and sisters fighting against the government. What do you want to do? You have to come in agreement with them so that your common enemy that's chasing you need to fight. You see? And that is what built what we call it alliances between the IO and the NAS, which is fighting the government now. So you don't need to interpret that IO alliance with the NAS to destroy the peace agreement. Peace agreement has already been totally dismantled by the regime in Juba. And that is the facts. Lastly, moving forward as South Sudanese, any country comes out from civil war, there must be a mechanism put in place. You see, there must be a mechanism that we can put in place to address the problems. Because any community comes out from the war, there always be the psychological breakdown. Okay? And that is what you can see in Rwanda when Paul Kagame took over the power. Then he came up with a proper laws that can address the grievances and the concerns of the people. And that was not happen, not only in 2013. It was not happen when we become a nation. This would be the approach that the SPLM, when they took power, they should went ahead and reconcile the people of South Sudan and come up with a productive law that encounter the grievances. But they never did that. So I think that is one of the big problems that we are facing in the country. But moving forward, don't assume that any tribe will be wiped out if SPLM-IO took the power. Our problem is not tribes. Our problem is the government is not doing better for our country and must be changed. And that is what we are for it. And that's our objectives.
But follow up, why is it the member of IO, like you yourself, like Oyet Nathaniel, why you guys don't condemn those voices in social media about tribe coming out from the IO supporters and not supporters? And we have seen for the last couple, we went into the check condemn the tribalism a lot of SPLIO supporters and a lot of NAS supporters, they go after Igor Chek. Okay, so why is it you guys see that there's no, or we are not in security with the tribe? And when we listen to your supporters, whether they are in IO generals in the field, or whether they're supported in the clubhouse, or only they talk about the tribals. The war, the current war is happening. It's not a war between IO and the government. It's a war between Nuer and Dinka. This is happening. But you guys are silent. This is the problem here. You guys are silent to condemn these voices.
Condemnation. There is different types of condemnation, Brother Madit. We are in a digital age. You cannot control the people, but what we control is the policy and manifesto of the SPLM.
But you guys can still use the same media outlet. Yes. Come out in public, release the statement, open a room, and call your support. That what you guys are doing is not like the way it would get in this media platform. You guys supposed to your own IO media platform, call your chairman, Nathaniel, and tell me that, make sure that distance yourself and make sure yourself very clear. Tell your supporter that do not engage in tribal warfare. But you guys are not doing that.
We like I said it, we cannot control people's opinions. Opinions is a part of freedom, very well. And
no, I understand that part.
Yes, freedom is a part of
part. But yourself, my point is this. I understand that part. Everybody's entitled to his own or an opinion. I understand that part. But your part as a leader, your leadership, you have a role to come out and public and challenge those voices, like what President Salva Kiir did, for example. President Salva Kiir always come out and said that I'm not taking this country back to war. We need peace. Okay, that's what the leadership should do, even though there is people are fighting, and he maintain his position. But why don't your chairman, you or your chairman and IO leadership come out and do that?
In a destructive political narratives, condemnation is not going to help. What will help is we need to focus on our agenda. One of our agenda is to make sure that we can preach the ideas, preach the ideas that can bring South Sudanese to understand that the war is imposed on the people of South Sudan by the regime. And if we're talking about the condemnation, you can see the way those of Elia Lomoro divided our society and calling them these are hostile, these are good community.
It shouldn't. This is the problem. This is what I don't get. Because when we talk about the incident,
it comes from the government.
This is what agitated me. Like when we talk about specific thing, you guys gonna bring out. For example, when we talk about the incident in Nasser, you bring the 2013 war. When we talk about the 2013 war, you can't bring this one up. No, it's not work that way, my brother. Yeah. So when I'm asking you this question, you go and bring about what Elia Moro say. That's not what I'm talking about. Do you?
No.
Don't worry about what don't worry about what Elias Moro is talking about. Do you as SPLIO? What are you doing?
No, we have to worry about what we have to worry about what government is doing, because the government is the one who are controlling the policy.
So I'm talking about SPLIO right now as we speak.
Those who are coming,
we are not talking about the government. Now, the I'm asking you is about SPLIO supporters and the member that who are using a tribal warfare. Okay, they're saying that the kind of war is between Gien and Nuer, and we're hearing from the civilian, we hear from the generals on the ground. And the leadership of SPLIO is not coming out condemning. Simple. Why? Why condemning it? Is because simple you are mobilizing your mobilization based on tribe. So you mobilize the White Army, you mobilize the SPLIO, you mobilize the Nuer, you mobilize Equatorians, those who support the tribalism. so they can fight your war.
That's
why you
not
don't
true.
condemn these people.
No, that's not true. There is a saying that you cannot condemn a victim, okay? Because those who are coming out aggressively, they have been victimized by the system. They have been targeted, you see? And if we condemn the victims, then we are not solving the problems. That's why the policy of the SPLM-IU to make sure that we have to terminate the problems. The problem is the system that dividing us make people aggressive. You see? And if we condemn those who have been victimized, their children have been killed, their women, all their lives have been uprooted by the system, then we are not doing justice for them. You see? That's why
Everybody died.
the IO leadership
Everybody died.
most of
Dinka
the
died.
time
Chulu
focus
died.
on that
Nuer died.
the
And
regime
most
is the root
people
cause of
died.
the problems.
Any South Sudanese loved their loved one, whether in 2013 war, whether in 2025 war, whether in current war. All people die. But it's not like single one single out and you playing, say this is the victim and this is not a victim. All South Sudanese are the victim of the war. Okay.
Of course. And that's what we are saying.
If we are not in that, we also support right we are a victim of war. Yes, we acknowledge that. But do not use a victim by playing those negative elements within our society, use a tribal game so that they can mobilize the people so that they can wage a violence by the name of victim. You see what I'm saying here, Balmond?
No, I understand that, the concept that you're coming from. However, when we want to terminate the problems, you cannot always blame somebody that have been victimized by the system. All our tribes across the country have been victimized. And who victimized them is the system that we are fighting against it. Therefore, the ideas of, coming out and condemning those who are already been victimized by the system and they are angry is not going to yield the solution that we are
doing. System.
That's why IO policy is not to talk about what people say online.
The same system you are fighting with, the same system using that same system you are using. You see? If you see the government is using a tribal, you are using too. I are using it. What makes you different between the system and you? Go ahead,
yes. Okay. Yeah. I think it was good.
I'm sorry, Pelimon. Let me just pop in here. The system, the issue here, Pelimon. Thank you so much for your answers, and you're trying to elaborate more about what is going on in our country. The people, especially the oppositions, they took a different narration that the government is a tribal government. And you don't come out to specify it that this system is accumulating all the 64 tribes. We have all the members of different tribes that are official within that system that you people are disagreeing with. But bring it down to one community as Dinka. Many people that saying it's a Dinka government. And it's not a Dinka government. Dinka government with the 5 vice presidency from different tribes coming to all the institution in the government. We have so various people background who are working within the same system. And why is being narrated? Because the head of the state is from Dinka, it becomes a Dinka government. And you people, you don't want to come out to condemn this wrong narrative. That is a Dinka government. It's all these things. It's a young and Nuer and all these things. And you are just silent. You enjoy it. I've been watching you in different platforms in the social media, in the clubhouse here. None of you came up openly to condemn that. That's what Abraham Madit is trying to tell you. Why you don't come out to condemn and differentiate the system of the government from the tribalism line. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Let
Yeah.
us give Bilakon
Yes.
and then you
Before we give
go ahead.
yeah. So I just want to make it very clear that when we say about system, we are talking about the government, not the tribes. We're talking about the government, you see. And when we also concluded that the system victimize our communities, we are talking about the policies that divide us, like what we are talking about. Therefore, when the system oppressed the society, then the society will start talking and reacting, you see. And reaction shouldn't be condemned. You see, we shouldn't condemn the reaction of the people because they are already running out from the brutal, approach that has done by the government to them. So what we frame it is, we must make sure that we need to confront the system that is, victimizing our people across the country. That is what we're supposed to be dwelling on it. The second thing, Isaac, when we are fighting against the government, we are not fighting against Jim. IO is very, very clear. We are saying that the Salva Kiir regime system is applying what we call it the tribal policies. And when we're talking about the tribal policies, we're looking at the institutions. You see, we're looking at the institution, how they apply it. Are they competent or they have been appointed by the merits? That is what we are looking and saying that it must be changed. You see, and when we're confronting the tribal policies, we are against it because it's not going to serve the interests of our people. It's not going to unite the country. It's not going to serve the betterment of the direction that we want to take as a country. You see, but if you are coming here to defend the system as a Jin, it is your problems. It is not our problems because we are saying that there is a bad policies that is, encompasses by the tribal policy. We are not saying that this tribe is a problem. You see, that is what we need all of us to understand as South Sudanese. And I know sometimes the guilty behaviors in the psychology term, when you have a guilty behaviors, you always irritated when people talk about, the tribal policy, you see, and that's one of the problems we're seeing. Some of our people, they are saying that, maybe IO is targeting Jim. No, we are against the system, and this system is not good for anybody in the country, and this system needs to be dismantled and then rebuilt, and that's what we want to focus on it.
Okay, so go ahead, Abil.
I greet you, Isaac, for joining. Philemon, I think you knew my position that I'm part of the people that are opposing the system itself. But giving my position that as a person against the government, it does not mean that if the government, as you said, that is practicing the policy of divide the rules or the tribal policy, as per your statement, that a saying that say too wrong does not make it right. I remember when SPLM went to war in 1983, there were those actually mobilized of a false narrative to join the SPLA. But SPLA took it upon themselves to have a political commissar that actually oriented the newly joined recruit of the objective of the movement, what they are fighting for, why they pick up arms. And Garang himself used to say that we are not fighting the Arab, but that we are fighting the clique regime in Khartoum that is oppressing the people of the Sudan. Now, SPLM IO is fighting the regime in Juba, the government of President Kiir. It does not give them a green light to use the same policy that you are saying the government is practicing. Because the person opposing the government itself, if I listen to what you, because this is statement that we are actually quoting or that are being played. The general are not victims. The general, they are people in the leadership. They are commanding forces. They should lead by example of orienting even the civilian, orienting the forces that they are commanding. You know, a war is not a war of tribal war. The SPLM-IO is a national and political movement that is fighting to bring the change or reform in the government of South Sudan. But when you hear them speak or addressing, they don't match with the policy that you put in the paper or the objective of the SPLM-IO. They should come out very clearly, or the SPLM-IO should come out very clearly, because you know that there must be consequences of those preaching such kind of policy. Now, the general Ogdor Chuol went further than said that in February, this land of the Jenga Padang will be occupied by the Jikeng. And he say, I'm not kidding. That is telling the fact. Now he's a brigadier general. He's the person that may be given a chance to govern the governor of Upper Nile State, for example, or military governor, in which that state comprised of all the tribes, the 5 tribes that we are, you and me, and the Nuer and the Chala and Koma came from. The person fighting or forcing the government, if I listen to this kind of, even if I have intention or there's intention of making a line of SPLM-IO, do you think that the other political parties that are also fighting the same cause to see that regime go will be in position actually to make an alliance with the party that as a disgruntled general that are preaching such kind of policy? Even when you hear those of David Biel, well known that they need a change in South Sudan, whether the Jiang. And he knows that there are Jiang in the SPLM-IO that were also appointed in that party. But it does not consider them as a part and parcel, to be part and parcel of the change that the SPLM-IO is fighting for. And you have never even questioned David Biel of saying such a thing. He's a diplomat, he's a general in your leadership. And that's why we are saying if SPLM-IO is fighting for reform or fighting the government of President Kiir, they should not be a sheep. They should not be a sheep it should not be a wolf in a sheep clothing. You know, that's different thing. So I want to thank Brother Madit that we must come out and highlight those kind of speech, whether they are coming from the government, they must be brought to light, whether they are coming from the people holding a powerful position in the armed struggle. They must also be exposed and bring to light so people of South Sudan will know who are these people fighting, trying to say they are fighting for the reform. There's nothing better associated with the reforming or the total regime change in the government being campaigned now by those about your general in the field. Thank you. Thank you, Madid. And the leg.
Thank you, Bilkon. And Palamun, I will give you to put your last statement, and then we can go clubhouse to continue with discussion, because I have a video to play for Jonglei governor meeting with the leader that in Jonglei in Duke County yesterday. So I want to play those videos. So go ahead, Palamun.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brother Madit. Like I said it when I started my, I would like to thank you for doing this job. Media is a part of dissemination, information dissemination. So, and as a South Sudanese, I want to send this message that we are not fighting against any tribe, as preached by so many people. But what we know, there is a divide and control, a policy that's been implemented by the regime in Juba. And that's why we are seeing there is a lot of problems, dividing us. And also, I would like to say the only way that we can unite our people it is through uh, justice and accountability. That's what we're looking to happen in chapter 5. We can say whatever we want to say. We can, if we don't bring, the people that committed atrocities against our people, we are not going to go anywhere as a nation. And this nation has a potential. Some of us, we are looking in the future of South Sudan, and that's why we are pushing for peace to come to our country. If you look at our resources, these resources, if got a good management, we are going to feed our people. You see, everyone will live a better life in South Sudan. But because the country is led by people that are only looking for their own interests, that's why they are dividing us. They are making sure that the war should not end, because if the war ended, then it's not going to be their benefit. And I think that is what we need to look at it very critical as a people. Oyet didn't resign. Oyet is not for war. He's not a warmonger. Oyet is just, leading us for what we call it the self-defense, so that we can force the government to come back to the table, so that we can chart a way forward for South Sudan that we are looking for all of us. Lastly, I would like to thank all your audience and thank Brother Azak and Brother, Abiel Kon. We are not enemies, we are a citizen. Even if we divided in opinions, still we are South Sudanese. Let's work together for the best interests of our country. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless our country.
Thank you, Palmoon. Appreciate my brother. Yeah, go ahead, Isaac.
Yeah, thank you so much, Philemon. I really appreciate your coming in and have a good conversation. That is what we all have been eager to dialogue, sitting down with your brothers and sisters and discussing. This is where we can iron out the issues that are hindering our progress. One thing that I want you to go with is that South Sudan Eagle Media and Lakes Media, we are not a government platform, and we are not opposition platform. We are the voice of the all 64 tribes. That's the reason we call it a Lakes Media Beyond Boundaries. Beyond boundaries mean we have no hudud. We welcome everybody. We discuss the issues that are have different issues between us. So and for all our audience, that's it. And we appreciate the conversation we had. Just let try to condemn and say the spade is a spade, the spoon is a spoon. That's what we can do, and this is where our country progress, and we will be having of joyful things, living and all atmosphere that we want our children to grow up. So thank you for coming up and answering the questions. Some are harsh and heat for you, and you did try to stand your ground and explain your part. Thank you so much, Madit. I will just yell back the mic for you and you close the room after this. And you guys who are in the clubhouse, you carry on with the more analysis. We heard from the acting chairperson of the SPLM-IO, Nathaniel. We had his audio and the video for those who are watching in YouTube and Facebook. So the reaction and your analysis, you will go ahead analyzing it in Clubhouse. Thank you. God bless you, and may God bless Republic of South Sudan. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, and thank you, Brother Pulamun. It's wonderful to have you today, and let us continue this discussion. I will make my time at least once a week to having a show like this. Inform some of your IO intellectual. I don't want some of those people who don't have, like I want you or Ganya Kundo, like Simon, to be here. So let us go back to discussion. Dialogue is very important because we have to discuss, because we are suspects. We can disagree, but we are, at the end of the day, South Sudan belongs to all of us, and we need a better South Sudan that we're looking for. For that, thank you. You can join us in Club out there, and then I will open the hand raise. Other than that, so we, South Sudan diaspora, we are playing a very negative role in the country. So we are supporting a violent, listen to
the political crisis in the country. And we have seen in some few social media platforms, Facebook, honestly, we have seen a very serious call for violence that should be the option for resolving the political crisis in the country. And we have seen in some few social media platforms, Facebook page, we have seen in Clubhouse, and we have seen in a group WhatsApp. And mainly people who are foiling that are supporters of the warring parties, those who support the warring parties or those who pay allegiance to the warring parties. And this has created a panic in the terms of, for example, you have seen the information Juba is likely to be attacked, and that has caused a panic. And Bor, you have seen people have moved from Bortown, they have rushed to Juba because they had the information Bor is going to be attacked. That's one thing that is very important that I'd like to share. But also we have seen how much social media content creators have created a panic that even they have reached the level of creating a fake news around the spokesperson of the SPLIO is arrested, and the spokesperson have to respond that, no, this is fake news, I'm not arrested, I'm here. And we have seen that Juba is going to be attacked, and some population in Juba are now panicking. People want to migrate in the midnight to certain locations. So I'd like to say content creators in various social media platforms are really creating a challenge to public tranquility in terms of stability, peace, this one. But also I would like to speak specifically to the media wings of the warring parties, the spokesperson of SPLIO, the spokesperson of SSPDF, and people who are running media, what we call moral orientation of this. We have seen statements coming from military moral orientation wings of the warring parties that are very, very discriminative, and some of them are deeply loaded with hate speech, they're loaded with hostile propaganda. Our brothers and sisters in the military media units, you can't fight war through hate speech. You can't fight war through spreading culture of hatred. That's the call I would like to say. You have caused a panic, and one day your own statement will be held accountable, since it's loaded with hate speech or hatred sentiments.
Thank you, Ilmun Yakani. Absolutely, that's a wonderful speech and wonderful statement that you give to those warring parties. Because I'm seeing this is the reason why we are seeing a lot of propaganda going on in social media, whether in Clubhouse or Facebook. So it's really particular, and that's why I'm calling out IO support, because they're using Clubhouse where they are doing propaganda and hate speech. So we need to stop all of this. This is not going to help you and I. Okay, so that's not okay. Let's listen to the video from. I will open hand raise, guys.
I Ramapia. Earlier guy corner man. And a young chop down man. Bob and Willie. Yankee Mardial. Kela Garquez. Nidal. Bob and Willie. Jaja Gadon Kakoron. Listen to Kid Yadi. Over Gulneti. Even go Roro. Kabay Bella Taloi. Kumedun Karakia Mordial. Could you look? You know a Kel. Condocha Kel. Took on your Kuma Kel. Took on a Quarkel. Quarana self became my yadi. Catch up done, catch up, Sudan. Catch up to Delhi. Tell me Charlie Noor, tell me Charlie Young, tell me Charlie Bar, tell me Charlie Jabe. Kokon, no con and a banaching Mal, Kajanga Baman, Kapai Jok, Corona Jua. You got a Canada. Jena Young. How you get it? Kuru. Wobo Mal. Till a come down Muke Jabe. Till a come Janek and a low telecom. Till a come that word. Can a low telegador. Till a come that word. Kajirana Ken. Ni Jango. Kia Young Piggy. Telegador. Come in a cup. Come in no one and every young na. Here the good and a brown noragin. Carado. You know that is. Because you know, Liu, your cup, Lakel, Machato, Oyet, Kananeke, Kenin Menang, a can contribute Yika, Kaber. The Junubin Dial. The young one on the Yuka Bear. Kowror, Yamat Kakao, the Jungle down the one. Lakini Chabana one man. Gani killing. Kayo Kwaran, the Self-Fakir. I wouldn't know Wale, Young Pokori, come down Kayo. Young Pokori, come down Kayo. Aye. Nilatke, it's a Chominang way door. You want to Chumawale. Chakon Bukodor, it's a good luck God you be in the cocaine, Gilga Ken. Every tour. Gilgi tour. Chakon Menang Nin. I can't go to Kayuay. Banabokel Garkur. Banaberana Kamia Kayuay. Kabano Daran Kaber. Banabotari Yukadan. Aye. Genba Lariano. Nadiali Ben Gagar Quilkel. Kayan Jal Krugo, Jal Kume. You couldn't balance the Kume. Kayan you do Dame. Tell you don't be in a girl. We carry a woman with Charlie Chatin. Nami Chimini and Kawar, and a Chandar, a Chatim, here Garkur. Kayan Jal Chatim. Dema Bur, a Quaran Muba, Jangiani. Because then when again Bodana one man. Galonima, dear Yanni.
kanga yene gar kwel kar man rode jabine ngene kore kana pa jut yen to rodun yen nyore kagan jabelo jow ngwana me belo jow a chala chop ka yai ka jow tar yika ka ber bagulu nga yai ba ko renyal ba go watino wa ka bor ke wa ka jube ba lel wele mi ka bese ni tot ay jara ba ko no gar ko nyuri wido nyuri doro ke mo done
Member self-care Madit. Near governor, Riagai Cook. Near Duke Dang and Kapke, Mahapas. Near John Tatim. And William, my Chabentin, Terra Parga Bentin. Mar, Quanka William, a Guaru Queda. Rame Tedum Piameda and Ella Kadit, a Guadona Demayan. William, Chadem, Mabonya, Amichale, Iwo. Entaben Dorchema Doni, Kapadiet, Edapka Martin, Jerakamechi, Mundeng, Jainariet, Piagabal, Piakawari, Piakawanangni, Nagabodward, Piabia Watong, Widam, Dorchema Done. A gent Tenok and Leniman Tama, Mala, Janichi Young Ring, the Widow in the low. On Banda world this time you get some make Nadia while I've been out with them. Inabe mai rechim bana go lang kon dial jana mat ala nuore la jino teram bi jal ke jale nei ri ki ngare tol ngare jogo chi ngare tol tame chi be kan kui ke chi be tame chi ga ji tol nei do go gan pande gar kel mi ri na ka mer ka mi jino wo ro par cha jo cha ba wo par gan cha joko ko cha nyam no ko lo yen tame cha joko lo che ma do ni kon bani nyen ya ba go ni go mi nanan ne faru gori bani chumnitin kana riet gurum yalla de ngul kana ling ilung ni ko nga bal bini ni nga bal bigo woni faru gori tama taja kai ka ko ni da de bana wo ngwen ne ga ber tari ka bana bo ne lang bana mat ka morale ba wi kol bala teram bi nyol ya lor ba ya taja ajan eloda woni ne teram bi nyokol ya ajan bi da ne dial bi gele fis tele liya me bi gele nyoko jeg agani ta mala ko wo teram bi nyokol ya ajan ramagolia bane woy marwat eni lare yeno alo jundu matit yen che ma don tabla wa lo no ija we ya larne gar ko biya we woy mani nangari yir lungu ko ndial bane wara maji gar ga bene wana me ruun bane lani tingdim ni bane wonyam bane ro mat gar pa jot jero ide nyom madi yeno.
Yeah, that's a few words I have picked up from him. I don't know Toknas Kaful. Lekin is just saying that we are united and we have one country. There is nothing called Nuer and nothing called Dinka or Yang and all these things. As the governor has put it, we have only one nation under leadership of President Salva Kiir and his 5 vice presidents. And so that's what we had. Before we closing, we will close up with the song from Thomas Saban. Is one of the songs that we will close down.
ka kungar kunyina. Ina chwal wa ba chala ki kanga wa dwar bi kunyina. Ina kungi kanga we ka kungar kunyina. Mujalla yang America, Australia, wal modri. Kungwe kuwe ka kungar milina. Mujalla yang Uganda, Kenya, Jimakaki. Ina kungi kanga we ka kungar milina. Yes.
That is Thomas Saban, one of the great legends of the South Sudan. We have a lot of great artists who are down there and they cannot be here because of the tribalisms and the war. Yes, nothing. Thank you so much, Thomas Saban, and thank you, South Sudan Eagle Media. Thank you, Lex Media, and all the audience and the followers and all the citizens, 64 tribes from joining this session. It's one of the wonderful day, night, afternoon, evening, wherever you are tuning in. May God bless you. May God bless Republic of South Sudan. Madit, you have to close the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isaac. Wonderful song. And thank you all for you tuning in to listen to watch this wonderful show. I will see you guys next time when we're having another show. Let us, for those of you who are in the studio, please join us in Clubhouse. And Isaac, you can take microphone back in Clubhouse and give the chance to others. And I will close down the studio. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. Peace out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah.